Hi, good morning. My name is Dante Preciado. I'm Vice President for Engagement and International Affairs at the American Society for Nutrition. Today, we're pleased and honored to have with us for an interview Dr. Jack Odle, who is the Editor-in-Chief of Current Developments in Nutrition. Before we get started with the interview, I'm going to give a little intro about Dr. Odle. He is the William Neal Reynolds Distinguished Professor of Nutritional Biochemistry in the Laboratory of Developmental Nutrition of the College of Agricultural Life Sciences at North Carolina University School of Veterinary Medicine. Well, thank you. Dr. Odle received his bachelor's degree in animal science from Purdue University, followed by both a master's degree in animal nutrition and a PhD in nutritional biochemistry from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. He's been a member of ASN since 1990, an active professor and researcher at North Carolina State University since 1995, and has been serving as an ASN editor since 1999, and as editor-in-chief for Current Developments in Nutrition, our ASN's full first open access journal, Current Developments in Nutrition, since 2016. Dr. Odle has spent his career in agri-medical research exploring nutritional and metabolic interventions to improve the health of domestic animals and humans. He has worked for over 30 years to develop and utilize the young pig as a pediatric nutrition and metabolism model. The piglet research model developed in his laboratories is considered the premier model for pediatric clinical research. His basic science research on piglets can be broadly applied to all mammalian neonates. Specific elements of his research have investigated the developmental regulation of lipid metabolism and nutritional variables impacting the intestinal health of the neonate. Dr. Odle, thank you again for being with us today. We do appreciate your leadership with ASN and, of course, with our journals and publishing programs. Thank you for everything you do for the science, and I'm happy to answer some questions. All right, so Dr. Odle, in addition to being editor-in-chief for Current Developments in Nutrition, you're also very active in ongoing research experiments, which is great to note that you're both an academic and a scientist. How do you juggle your responsibilities and commitments?
Well, thank you, Dante, for the question, actually, and for that very kind introduction. I would say that juggling is the key word. I think this is a skill that's in the toolbox, really, of all practicing professionals. We have lots of responsibilities, and over the course of your career, you do learn the juggling technique, and you maybe drop a few balls along the way, but by the time you get to my stage, you get pretty good at time management and being able to just make priorities. There's many days that come along that there's more to do than can be done, and you just have to be judicious in setting priorities and making those judgments. But I would say, to your point, that 70% of my time is actually spent in research and teaching. I'm teaching a graduate level course in metabolic regulation. It's ongoing right now, right? So anyway, I do have a day job, so to speak, and the editor services or whatever. It's something that never leaves, right? It's always there. But again, it's like that other ball that's in the air, the third ball. So yeah, thank you for the question.
Of course. So tell me something. How do you become interested in using the young pig model, specifically the piglet that you use, as a pediatric nutrition and metabolism model for your lab research?
Okay, well, that's a fun question because you're asking me why I do what I do, and that I could get long-winded with this, and I'll try not to. But this goes way back into my formative years in graduate school at Wisconsin, and I had two remarkable mentors. I had sort of co-mentors. N.J. Benavenga, affectionately referred to as Ben by those who know him, and also Tommy Crenshaw. And they had actually the vision for work in this pediatric space. I'm an agriculturalist first, and so the young pig has always been of interest to me. But the vision that this animal model could serve in a broader sense, the human community really was a vision sort of laid out by Benavenga. He himself, his program he had joint appointments between the animal and the human nutrition departments at Wisconsin. And so again, it was sort of his steering and his guidance that got us headed in this direction. So full hats off to my mentors.
That's great. Well, I always like to see that progression from mentor to mentee, and now you're a mentor yourself.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Well, um, can you share with us some of your research findings and how they've been useful for helping us improve pediatric nutrition?
Surely, probably the most impactful answer I could give to that is, I work in the lipid metabolism area. You mentioned that in your introduction, and I don't know, it was kind of mid-career. I had the opportunity to engage in a line of research, actually with an industry sponsor, with the Mead Johnson Company, infant formula manufacturer, and they were interested in considering the addition of what we call long chain polyunsaturated fatty acids into infant formulas. So these are known, maybe more in the lay terms, people have heard of DHA, docosahexaenoic acid. It has a sort of a sister fatty acid as arachidonate. Anyway, and the goal, of course, in infant formula manufacturing is to mimic human breast milk to the best degree we can. Well, it was becoming apparent that these fatty acids were probably, conditionally essential to the young human neonate, and so we needed an animal model in order to study the safety and the efficacy of these fatty acids before we proceeded to clinical work in infants. And so myself and a couple other laboratories engaged with Mead Johnson to conduct these studies. And now I would say, it's a fun accomplishment. If you look at infant formulas, you would be strapped to find one manufactured nowadays that does not contain these fatty acids added to them. So, as a basic science researcher, we don't impact the real world every day. In this case, we did, and it's a success story. So one I was happy and humbled to be part of.
Well, very nice. I always think that like translation of the research that you do and many others, like you said, and then being used to improve human health and in this case, pediatric healthcare, which is amazing. So we were very excited to learn about the current develops in nutrition received an inaugural impact factor of 4.8 that was earlier this year. Can you tell us what you and your editorial board, because I know it's not just you alone, what did you do so well to receive that impressive inaugural impact factor score?
I wish I really could answer that more accurately than I really can, Dante. I will say you're absolutely right. There's a team of I don't know, 25 to 30 individuals. Actually, you were among them when we were in the early days of launching this journal, but both staff and editors that were recruited onto the early team, even society members that came forward. There was a period of time prior to the impact factor, our people submitting articles were doing it almost as an act of benevolence, right? Because we had no impact factor. We were sort of in this purgatory sort of state, and they came forward. And so I would say was that there's a share of this great achievement with all of those that were laboring in the trenches, but it's also a reflection of our society, right? You think about the family of journals that we have and the reputation of ASN and its scholarly journals. I was in such great company. I think failure would have been hard. I didn't really appreciate that at the time. I had my moments of stress, but I think in reflecting back on it, it probably could have been predicted just based on the great company that I was in, if you will, as an editor in chief and as CDN was among the other journals. So yeah, I think that's the most accurate answer I can give.
Well,
Yeah.
definitely a labor of many, and there was some elements of benevolence, but there was always that quality and rigor that you guys utilize for your editorial selection. So obviously that's evident in the high impact factor. So thank you for that. So Jack, staying on with the editor just a moment, we realize that you're always looking for qualified reviewers for this ASN journal that you lead. Are you looking for any specific type of individuals who serve as reviewers? Do you or ASN, do you provide training for them? How does anybody who's interested want to apply and want to help out? How do they become a reviewer for current developments in nutrition?
Okay, lots of questions there to unpack. First to say, we are in the market for good reviewers. We, in the expansion of the open access world and the plethora of journals that are out there, quality reviews are the lifeblood of what we do in our nutrition scholarship, and we need individuals absolutely to review for our journals. The qualities we look for, I mean, they need to be really good scientists, right? They need to be strong in their discipline, in their area of knowledge. They have to have the ability to be, I'll say, constructively critical, not just what I would say, sort of what I'm struggling for the word, Dante. Not brutally honest, right? Honest, yes, but they can do it in a kind way, right? We want it to be constructive, right? So that's an important characteristic. And then, sort of fairness, I would say. Taking a balanced view. I try to ask the reviewers to put themselves in the position of the author, right? What kind of feedback would you like to receive, right? If you were on the receiving end of it, and that's what you should be looking to give. So individuals that can do that are the best reviewers, I would say. Your next question was, do we provide training? The answer is yes. We've begun. We've realized we need to do more than we have done. The last couple of ASN meetings, like just even back in July here, we had a session in ASN Live where we had Vicki Weatherall from our Elsevier partner, our liaison. She gave a wonderful sort of workshop style presentation to young scientists to give them some handles on how they can get involved. So we've made some efforts. We honestly really need to do more. And I've got a slide here, if you'll allow me to share a couple of resources for interested individuals where they can get more information. If I can pull this up, bear with me here. So these are resources that are available in part or mostly through our publishing partner, Elsevier. So the first URL you see here is the Elsevier Research Academy. This will take you to a site that covers the entire waterfront. Okay, certainly within that waterfront is going to be instruction on peer review, and so the second QR code will give you an outline for a course that they offer within the academy, where you can actually become certified. And if you go to this link, it'll show you just the outline, the content of what that course provides. And so you can see if that would be of assistance to you. And then if you actually want to engage in it, I encourage you to search for Elsevier Reviewer Hub. This is a site that will require you to register to sign in or whatever, but then that'll allow you to participate in a number of these trainings. And then the third thing that I'll say here is, and the third QR code is the site you can go to if you want to actually register to be a reviewer for CDN. You go to this site and you can sign up to do that. Okay, so that's really what I would say, Dante. Love to have new people getting certified and joining the team. It's a huge effort. We need all hands on deck.
That's great. Thank you for that insight and that information. I'm sure it will be of use to some of the people watching this interview. As you know, nearly half of all ASN members are either early career members who are within 10 years of their terminal degree or graduate students. So, what advice would you have for these young members and scientists as they're looking to become more engaged with ASN and the emerging field of nutrition science research and practice?
Okay. That's an awesome question. Speaking to these early career professionals, they represent the future. They are our future. And I think those statistics on our society tells you that we have a bright future. These early career individuals are going to carry the torch forward. And my advice, I guess, would number one be do your science with excellence, because that's the foundation of it all, right? We want to be a society of excellence. We want to publish work that's got the imprint of excellence on it, and that just is sort of the most fundamental thing is do your work and do it with excellence. There are a number of ways that you can get engaged with the journals. We've just talked a little bit about that, how you can work to train yourself or whatever, and to reach out and get involved in peer review of the journal. That does amazing things for you in terms of honing your critical evaluation skills, establishing your professional network, getting to know editors and other scientists working in the field by reading their work and reading it, constructively, critically. That does so much. ASN, of course, is structured with their gyms, these groups engaging members. I would highly encourage to not only join those that are relevant to your area of interest within nutrition, but also to seek leadership and just contribute actively to those groups. That's again going to just build your leadership. It's gonna help you network and get to know others that share your passions, and ultimately can be a huge boost to your career. You can see collaborations through those systems. So again, another number of opportunities available, and a very bright future.
All great advice. Thank you for that. So now let's continue on with this theme about professional development. For those members looking to advance their careers or take risks in their professional development, what advice would you give to them?
Well, I'm speaking as a researcher for over 30 years, right? I liked your idea of or your comment on taking risks, right? This is what I mean. I'm speaking again as a researcher. The way you get your proposals funded, it's not by being conservative. There's risk taking involved in that, right? This if you're pushing the envelope, you're pushing the edge of research. You can't be conservative about that. You gotta go for it, right? Otherwise, your grants aren't going to be funded, right? They don't fund pedestrian level research. You want to be at the tip of the spear, and the same is true for your career, your profession. You're developing your professional career overall. You need to seek opportunities. They won't always come knocking at your door. Now, I will tell you, if you do your science well, you do it with excellence, as we just mentioned. I believe these opportunities will avail themselves to you, right? It's something that people are gonna take notice of individuals that are doing their job with excellence. You can't hide that, right? That's going to show itself, and I think that will open doors for you, right? Because people see, we want committee members that are actively engaged and bringing their best, right, to the effort, and so just being authentically passionate about what you do, and then not being afraid to take some risks. Maybe it's a leadership position that comes open and you feel marginally qualified for. You take the plunge. Dante, I remember the first invitation I got. It was to serve in the publications management committee, right? Back in the early '90s, I was early in my career, and I served on that for a year. The next year, I was chairman of the committee. Okay, I barely knew what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing hardly. It's sort of, I had great guidance, but that was the year that we decided to make the journals electronic, right? prior to that, it was all paper, right? And with fear and trepidation, right, and risk taking, we decided as the publications management committee it was worth the risk, that we needed to go there, right? And that's long ago history, but anyway, risk taking, it comes with the turf. If you're gonna avail yourself to opportunities, you got to take calculated risks, no question about it.
That's great. Actually, you pointed that out. In that case, Journal of Nutrition went online in 1997, and the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition 1999. So we very much
We were the
trailblazed.
first, Dante. We were the
Exactly.
first. JN was the first nutrition journal to do it. Yeah. So we were
Exactly.
pioneers. We were leading.
Well, not
Yeah.
just pioneers in its foundation in 1928 by going online in 1997, and look where we are today. So
Yeah.
that's great. And of course, CDN is a spin-off of one of the ASN journals, and it was our first open access journal. So
Yeah.
very good. All right. So now my last question, Jack, is looking at ASN's vision for a healthier world through evidence-based nutrition. How do you see ASN's role as a leader in worldwide nutrition community interactions with practitioner community to improve healthcare and nutrition wellness?
Yeah. Really excellent question to end on, Dante. Well, I can speak specifically for CDN. When we were setting the stage to launch this journal, we conducted a lot of surveys of our membership and so forth, and the Global Nutrition Council came forward very strongly, saying, we need more presence here. We need more opportunity here. So CDN took it on specifically to make that a centerpiece of what we would do. Of course, we cover a very wide bandwidth of the work that we will publish, but certainly that does include global nutrition efforts. And sometimes you can do these nutritional intervention studies into low and middle income countries, and you publish the work, and it just fades into oblivion, right? There's a branch of science referred to as implementation science, right? And CDN embraces this. We have a deputy editor, Rafael Perez Escamilla, that helps lead this implementation science. But it's looking at the non-scientific issues that might be obstacles to getting these interventions extended beyond a local community, maybe to a larger level, right? There's geopolitical types of challenges that go well beyond the nutrition per se that can inhibit their adoption. And so there's a branch of science that embraces that, right? And we published on that in CDN. We just had a special issue, Grace Marquis led, in the involvement of community participation and the success of nutritional interventions, right? So we're doing all that we can, right, as a journal to bring prominence to this area. We have another one, Foods and Nutrition of Indigenous Peoples, right? So again, a unique space that CDN has tried to carve out, and we're doing our best at it. But it reflects, really our membership, and we have great activities at our meetings. Our Global Nutrition Council, of course, I need to fan the flame of that group. I mean, there's a tremendous effort expended in this space. So I think we're doing a lot, and I think I'm a little biased. I think we're the best nutrition society on the planet. How can we not be advancing nutrition in a global setting? Of course we are. And then your last piece, I'm getting long-winded here, is just the practitioner part, right? This speaks to the continuity of sort of the fundamental biology of nutrition, right? This is meeting the nutrient needs in the body, but then when you extend this on through to application, we have to engage with the nutrition practitioners, where it becomes increasingly social science, right? It's not biologic science. It's what people eat, why they eat it, what motivates them, how can you change their behavior, right? That at the end of it, that we need that behavior change, and we have tremendously skilled practitioners that are capable of doing that, and so we need the information to flow along this continuum to get to where the rubber meets the road, and to have a lasting impact. So there you have it.
Well, that's great. That's a terrific outlook to the way this whole functions. So thank you for putting this into perspective the way you did. Well, Dr. Odle, thank you so much for your time today. Through its membership programs and the other programs that we have, the American Society for Nutrition is excited to support the work of the 8,500 members in more than 100 countries around the world who share the vision of ASN for a healthier world through evidence-based nutrition. And of course, our mission to advance the science, education, and practice of nutrition. Visit us at nutrition.org to learn more about ASN membership and its programs. Thank you very much again. Have a great rest of your day.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye now.